We're going to be going over that 2023 paper 2 question 2 trig proof. So it says prove that the sine of a plus b is equal to sine a cos b plus cos a sine b. Two separate tricks you need to know for this. The first one is that when we have, let's make that bigger. When we have our cast circle, there was the whole, if we have an angle like this, it's the same thing as if we take the bigger red angle and subtract away this little bit right here. So the way we denote that is the 90 degrees or pi over 2. I'll just do it like that. So this just says that instead of having this a right here, we're going to have 90 minus a instead. The next thing we're going to have to know is where to look in the tables. So if we go to our tables and we go to the trig section, we have this one right here. Cos of a minus b is equal to cos of b, sine of a, sine of b. So, go back to this note, we also have that the cos of a minus b is equal to cos of a times cos of b plus sine of a sine of b. Looks like we're getting a little bit further away, but it'll collapse down nicely. So, now what we can say is that the cosine of 90 minus a minus b is equal to the cosine of a minus b, or 90 minus a, sorry, cos of b, because this is only to do with the a angle, plus sine of 90 minus a sine of b. There is another trick we need to know, and that's going to pretty much take us all the way to the end. And it's going to be regarding when does cosine equal sine and when does sine equal cosine. Well, similar rules. If we have the cosine of 90 minus a, that is equal to the sine of a, and that the sine of 90 minus a, that is equal to cosine of a. So now we can go ahead and really start filling all the rest of this out. So, one last thing, or we'll get to that in a second. So, what we can now say is wherever we see a cosine of 90 minus a, we can just replace it with the sine of a, and whenever we see sine of 90 minus a, we can replace it with the cosine. So, this previous line now gets simplified a little bit more. So what we can say now is that the cosine of 90 minus a minus b is equal to the sine of a cos of b plus the cos of a sine of b. Now the only thing we need to deal with is this very leading term, because if we look up, this is the exact same thing as all of this. So the final thing we have to know is similar enough to what we did in this step right here, is because we have the cosine of 90 minus something here, we can imagine that this a minus b is one term itself and just replace it with this sine term right here. So if we do that, we're going to have, you pretty much can just bracket the two of these off, and what we now realize is that this becomes the cosine of 90 minus a plus b. Why is it a plus b? Well, if we take an example, let's do it in white. If we have 10 minus 2 minus 3, that's going to equal to 5, but it's the same thing as saying 10 minus 2 plus 3, which again is equal to 5. So if we take two numbers away from another number, it's the same thing as adding those two numbers together and taking it away from the overall, because you're still taking away the same amount. What we can finally say is that and then similar enough, this is just going to be equal to the sine of a plus b. And that's following on from this rule right here. So in short, we have the sine of a plus b is equal to the sine of A cos B plus cos A sine B. And that is the end of this proof.